Hi, friends. Welcome to Willa's Light, where we shine God's love, one story at a time. Let's open our hearts and see what bright Bible adventure God has for us today.
Hello, wonderful story explorers. Are you ready for an adventure on the big white open sea? Great, because today we're going to hear a super duper important story about a kind man named Noah. A whole lot of animals and the biggest boat you've ever seen. Long, long ago, in a world that had become a little bit grumpy and wasn't so good at sharing and being kind, there lived a man named Noah. Noah was different. He had a heart full of sunshine and always tried to do the right thing. He loved his family, he loved his animal friends, and he always listened when God spoke to him. One sunny morning, while Noah was tending his garden, he heard a gentle voice. It was God. God told Noah that he was sad because the world had forgotten how to be loving and kind. So, God was going to wash the world clean with a great big rain, like giving the whole earth a giant bath. But God wanted to save Noah, his family, and all the animals. God gave Noah a very special, very big job. God said, I want you to build an ark. Noah tilted his head. An ark? What's an ark? God explained it would be a huge boat made of strong gopher wood with rooms and windows and a big door. It needed to be long enough to play a giant game of tag in, wide enough for a hippo to do a happy dance, and tall enough for a giraffe to stretch its neck. Noah's neighbors watched him. They saw him and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth chopping wood. Chop, chop, chop. They saw them hammering nails. Bang, bang, bang. The neighbors giggled. Why are you building a boat, Noah? There's no water here, just dust and hills. But Noah just smiled and kept on working because he trusted that God had a good plan. Day after day, week after week, month after month, the ark grew bigger and bigger and bigger. It was the most amazing thing anyone had ever seen. Finally, the ark was finished. It stood proudly on the dry land, ready for its special passengers. Then, the most incredible parade began. God sent the animals, 2 by 2, to Noah. Can you imagine? 2 lions, with their big, fluffy manes, walking side by side with 2 little ladybugs. Roar! 2 tall giraffes, their heads way up in the clouds, followed by 2 wriggly worms. Wiggle, wiggle. 2 monkeys, chattering and swinging their tails, right behind 2 slow and steady turtles. There were fluffy sheep, spotty leopards, slithery snakes, and chirpy birds of every color. They came from the jungles, the forests, the deserts, and the mountains. And they all walked peacefully, 2 by 2, up the long ramp and into the ark. Noah and his wife and his 3 sons and their wives made sure every animal found its cozy spot inside. They checked on the elephants, gave the penguins a friendly wave, and made sure the little mice had plenty of cheese. Once everyone was safely tucked inside, Noah and his family went in, too. Then, with a gentle push from God, the big, heavy door of the ark closed. Thump! It was quiet inside. The animals settled down, and Noah's family looked at each other and smiled. They were safe. And just as God had said, it began to rain. At first, it was just a little pitter-patter. Asterisk pitter-patter, pitter-patter. But soon, the pitter-patter turned into a splish-splash, and the splish-splash turned into a giant whoosh. Rain poured from the sky for 40 days and 40 nights. The rivers and lakes overflowed, and the water rose higher and higher. Soon, the whole world was covered in water, like a giant ocean. But Noah and his family and all the animals were safe and dry inside the floating ark, bobbing along on the waves like a giant rubber ducky in a bathtub. Life on the ark was a new kind of adventure. Noah and his family were very busy. Every morning they'd wake up and say good morning to all the animals. They had to feed the hungry hippos, give the monkeys bananas to peel, and make sure the lions had a good breakfast. They cleaned the stalls, gave the horses fresh hay, and sang songs to the colorful parrots. It was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. The ark was filled with the sounds of moos, oinks, chirps, and roars. It was like the biggest, coziest floating zoo in the whole world. After a long, long time floating on the water, Noah felt the ark gently bump and then stop. It had landed on the top of a tall mountain called Ararat, too. The rain had stopped, and the sun was peeking through the clouds. Noah wanted to see if the water had gone down. So, he sent out a brave raven. The raven flew and flew, but came right back. A little later, Noah sent out a gentle dove. The dove flew around, but couldn't find a place to land, so she came back to the ark. Noah waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again. This time, when she came back in the evening, she had a fresh olive leaf in her beak. Hooray! This was a sign. It meant that trees and plants were starting to grow again. The water was going away. Noah's family cheered. The animals felt the excitement and started to wiggle and stomp their feet. After waiting just a little longer, God spoke to Noah again. "It's time, Noah. Open the door. You and your family and all the animals can come out." With a big push, Noah opened the huge door. A bright, beautiful ray of sunshine filled the ark. He peeked outside. The world was fresh, clean, and green. The air smelled sweet like flowers and wet earth. One by one, Noah, his family, and the amazing parade of animals walked down the ramp onto the new, clean land. The lions roared a happy roar, the birds sang a cheerful song, and the elephants trumpeted with joy. They were all so happy to feel the solid ground beneath their feet and the warm sun on their backs. As Noah and his family looked at the beautiful new world, God put a magnificent sign in the sky for everyone to see. It was a rainbow. It had all the colors you can imagine: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple stretching across the sky. God said, "This rainbow is my promise to you and to every living creature. I will never again cover the whole earth with a flood." So, whenever you see a beautiful rainbow arching across the sky after a storm, remember the story of Noah. Remember his great faith, the incredible ark, all the wonderful animals, and God's beautiful promise of love and care for our world. And that's the amazing story of Noah's Ark. If you loved our adventure, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next story.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories from Willa's Light.